that we can create the right energy at the right time for all of those ready to receive it.
So in our members portal, there is a place where they can submit a request for healing energy or prayers. But regardless of whether you're a member or not, we're inviting all of you in this moment to connect together as a group so that we can send energy, compassion and love to all those who are requesting our help. And perhaps you are included in that, where you would like to receive some healing energy or some compassion and love. So we're going to generate it from that divine spark that exists inside. And as we're sending that out, we're also receiving it. It's like this infinity loop, this wave of love that gets generated out, and it comes straight back to you. And if you are having trouble visualizing this, I encourage you to just get pen and paper out and place a little dot which represents you. And then around your dot, I invite you to place other dots which represent all the multitude of beautiful souls out there requesting help. And if you start drawing some big circles around all of those dots, you're going to find that there is overlapping circles, because our soul is enormous and it's overlapping with all the other souls. And when that soul overlaps with another soul, all of a sudden you can reach and touch someone miles and kilometers away from you. They're not even sitting next to you, and yet that enormous soul energy of yours that is radiating out is already touching so many other souls. And I invite you to just feel into that connection that is occurring right now. And we are all holding together in our soul energy. And in the soul energy, it is just radiating peace, tranquility, love, compassion, joy, and even laughter. So feel those movement of joy and laughter and bubbles of love flowing out until we have a field of giggling vibrations, loving and supporting each other. And from this place of giggling love and anticipation, let's now receive the beautiful messages from Cryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon. Come a little closer. The circle of 12 is a healing circle. This is why it was created, and not just for the body. The healing of the mind. If you discover a truth that was there all along, but that you never knew, is that a form of healing? If you discover joy when you never had it, where all your life there was always something wrong, where you never really saw any light at any beginning of any tunnel. In fact, you were born, you would say, in the tunnel and never got out. This is so common for so many. And if you recovered from that, somehow if you rewrote that, and it was joyful and peaceful, and there was no worry, let me ask you, would that be a healing? And the answer is, oh yes. To many, that's their miracle. To move out of a condition of depression, perhaps. To move out of a feeling of victimization, perhaps. So common. It's a relief. It's a rescue, some say. And it's so available, as we've told you from the beginning. The circle of 12 is an exercise, a meditation. And if it's the first time that you have heard this, or perhaps the first time you're here, let me just say it's a journey into self. It's part of discovery of self. It's a paradigm that's different. It's a meditation that helps you to walk across a bridge from the known to the unknown in your mind, a metaphor. Walking across that bridge is a symbol that you're going from one place to another, of course, but the place you're going to is a place not only you've never seen, but you didn't think you could go. And that's right into your own soul, dear ones. This is a special journey. It's not for everyone. It's a journey that can be as real as the chair you're sitting in. It's not pretend. It's not really even a visualization. This is something that you can do. The difficulty is always the same. The first part of the difficulty is, I was told I can't do it. You may have even been told by metaphysical people that you can't do that because it is something that has never been available. And we'll say again, there is a change. Haven't you felt it in this planet? Right now, even as I speak to you, the very things I told you to look for are happening. That the darkness, that history of war and all the things that your grandfathers experienced is trying to be revisited on your planet. And you get to see it. And you go, really? Really? Is that truly happening? We told you to look for it. That those that are negative, those who represent the history of a dark energy, will do their best to pull you back because, dear ones, this planet is headed in another direction. It's headed in light. We told you that. There'll be some who will hear this and say, where have you been? Cryon, under a rock somewhere? We're not headed for life. Take a look at light. Take a look what's happening. I'll tell you what I said before. If you haven't heard it, listen up. When the light comes out, the darkness shows itself. You turn on a bright light, all the dirt shows. And that's what's going on right now. It wouldn't have happened unless it was threatened. The dark does not do anything different than it always has because it's always been in control. Why show itself now? It's showing itself to the whole planet. There's ugliness in war, sorrow, horror, death. Just about like 1944, 43, 42. It's all here. Just about the same kinds of things you saw on those newsreels you're seeing today. That ought to tell you, that energy wants to reassert itself. So you won't then decide you don't want war anymore, or decide that you'd all like to come together and make sure there's no war anymore. That's why the planet is objecting, dear ones. That's the light I'm talking about. So I'm not telling you something that's a Pollyanna story. I'm telling you something I actually predicted for you. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're in a step back now, it seems, but dear ones, that's only because you're shining the light. This circle of 12 is new. It's new because you're in a shift of consciousness that's already starting to show itself on this planet. And that's why we now take you to a place that perhaps no one told you could ever go to before, your soul. And we go across a bridge and we walk into special rooms and places that are all metaphors for pieces and parts of your divinity or your mind. We've gone so many places in this last year and a half with this, all these episodes. It's time to revisit some of them, perhaps with a different twist. We're going to set a precedent for all 4 Circle of 12s this month. What I want you to do there that's a little different than it ever was before. Be ready. If you wish to participate in this Circle of 12, when we cross that bridge, be ready. Be ready for something beautiful, not something odd. If you want something odd, you're in the wrong place. Because when you stop thinking that way and understand that is the more divine you become, the more you learn about you. And that's not odd. That's love. Built for love, you were. The image of love, you are. And as you get into self-discovery, it starts to show itself very, very positively. That you are in a place for you. It's a safe place. Let's go there now. I invite you, like I always have, to go across this bridge with me. You're not alone. Let's go together and find out what's there again for you today. Take my hand. This is the most beautiful part. Take my hand, come through this mist that obfuscates such beautiful things you've never seen. Some have even said it's like crossing the veil that you've always been told can't be crossed unless you're dead, and you're not. You are very much alive right now, looking perhaps at something you needed to see. The beauty of you. The beauty of you. We've often gone here in this place, in this circle of 12, and there's a theater to go to or some other rooms. We'll go to the theater again. Let's go to the theater again. This time it's a bit different. It may seem like we've been there before and done this before. We may do that. We may have some total repeat experiences because they're beautiful and you need them. There's so many who say, why don't you repeat this and repeat that? And I ask you why. And you say, because I loved that and I felt certain things. And my question to you is, well, since you felt them, why do you need to feel them again? That's a funny question you might ask. But dear ones, we're multidimensional here. When something happens, we feel that it happens forever. For you often have to revisit it time and time again in order to keep it, without the idea that perhaps, just perhaps, you can take it home with you. Welcome to a new circle of 12 for these 4 times this month. I want you to go to that theater again with me right now. Let's go into that door that has your name on it that you can never read because it's in light language. It's you. Everything in this place is you. It's a metaphor because you are looking at it with linear eyes. If you have the power of super visualization, you still won't be able to figure it out. So I want you to visualize whatever it is that makes you happy here. You're walking into that joy place for you. The place that is the most comfortable place. I'll say it again. As a human, you're visiting. This is your home. And your home is built for you. That's your soul. Going into the theater, go through that door into the theater, go and take a look at that theater in the round where there are seats all around it. You have to go down into the audience and climb onto the stage in order for you to then be there on stage. How does that make you feel? To go onto any stage. And you might say, well, I'm a bit uncomfortable, Cryon, to be on stage at all. That's quite funny. That stage you're on, that's your core. That's why it's a stage. Did you ever figure that out? Circle of 12 listeners, have you ever realized that's your core? That's where you would always be. That's your stage for you, where everything is brought to you. That's where you go from your stage. That's where the wind of birth goes. That's where you have the conferences with those family you're going to have and decide to meet when you're born. Their souls are there as well. It's a complicated idea, isn't it? That you might have chosen your own parents. We have talked about that as well. To Today, you're going to do something that we've done before. The audience starts to light up, and there are so many in front of you. It doesn't wrap around totally behind you because these are specific entities, if you wish to call them. They are ones of the past of this planet, and they all have something in common. The first thing they have in common is they know your soul. That may be odd to you, because on this planet, you only know certain people, and the important ones perhaps are beyond your reach. When you're in your soul stage, everything that has ever existed is together and knows you well, and knows why you're there. The master healers of the planet sit in the chairs where you are. You're on stage, they're in the chairs, and they're looking at you. We have been here before. This is different. One by one, they're going to honor you. And they're going to come up on the stage one at a time. And you'll say, well, how long is that going to take? It's going to take a fraction of a second if you're in a multidimensional place where there is no time. Don't worry about how long it's going to take. Think of them all coming together, if you wish, one at a time together. And they're going to touch you. Perhaps you'll have your hands out ready for them to hold them, and they will pass to you whatever is their specialty. Whether it's the beauty of joy and humor, whether it's the gift of healing of the chemistry in your body, healing of disease perhaps. They're all specialists. Some of them are specialists in doing the same thing, and they do it differently. But each one wants to touch you, and they want to do it now. And you might say, well, I don't have that much time. What if I told you they all just did? That's what we're doing. We're making this a multidimensional experience, but this one is different. This one is different. Every single time one touches you, a little wrapped gift will appear at your feet. And as they come and they go, for just a moment or two, that they're going to touch you and pass these beautiful things, and touch you and pass these beautiful things. Every single one of them is going to create a little wrapped present, and it's at your feet. Soon you're going to have many presents at your feet. Here's what I want you to picture. When this is finished, and it can be finished in a moment and a half. What's a half a moment? It's half of a whole moment. When they're done, all of those gifts will be at your feet, stacked high. What are you going to do with that? You're going to pass your hand over all of those gifts that were given to you in love, and they're going to go into your core. And that means they disappear into your human body. And at that moment, you can come home. Back to the chair that you call the Circle of 12 chair that you're watching from right now. All of that belongs to you, stays with you, and you never have to go to that stage again if you don't want to, because it has returned with you. Now you have to sort it out and say, is it real? Is it not real? Are they there for you? Or is it just pretend? And I will tell you a truth. You have manifested the healing you've asked for in so many ways. It's all there. Unwrap each one of those if you wish. Do ceremony, meditation if you wish, and paste them upon your chemistry, because they all belong to you, given to you at the soul level by the ancestors of this planet who know your name today. Think about it. Stay. Why don't you just stay and think about that? Why would they know your name? Perhaps you're just a little bigger than you think. You're here to be healed today. I'm crying in love with humanity. And so it is.
delicious, gentle, warm, loving embrace to those on the planet in this moment who have not accepted the love of God, who reject the light. And we're not judging, we're just observing, we're not judging them, and we're allowing ourselves to see the magnificence that is underneath the layers of protection that they've coded upon themselves to be in survival consciousness. And so we just send pulsating waves of love and light so that they're aware that they too are loved beyond measure. Because God is not a judging God. God loves every single human on the planet. That is the phrase, you are dearly loved beyond measure. And so let us now allow Cryon, who gave us that message, your love beyond measure, to connect with us. Thank you, Cryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon of Magnetic Service. Following up on my partner's answer and the meditation you just heard, there are those who would wring their hands and say, I see the evil around me or in humanity. How can we fight the darkness? The answer I have always given, dear ones, is you never have to fight the darkness. All you have to do is create light. That's all. The darkness cannot exist when light is there. It cannot. And in that, we present yet again the idea that the light around you that you create yourself is far, far more effective than you think. Instead of trying to fight that which is dark, creating light almost does it for you. And the darkness starts to then diminish by itself. We're doing a series of 4 channelings this month. And if you could title them, they're all about timing. So far, we have given you 2 examples of timing in 2 categories, and this is the 3rd. And this one is for you. It's about you in your life and timing that is critical and important for you. Now, this particular message has been taught by my partner for years. But he and others are aware that the messages that he teaches sometimes have not been seen by the many who are starting to then come online, as they say, wake up to grander truths, as they say, and perhaps tune in to this particular message. So we're going to give it to you again. And I want to make sure you truly hear this because it is so unusual and different from what you expect. The subject is the timing of what you have that's spiritual. So many of you listening to my voice right now, watching this program, perhaps either live or in a replay, have had inklings, intuitions, even direct messages from Spirit about your life, or perhaps what you were supposed to do in the future, or what you're supposed to create. And you have all along felt that perhaps this was it. Time to write a book, perhaps. Time to open some kind of spiritual center or a healing practice, perhaps. And in this new energy, there is a grander kind of communication. And what I mean by that, you might have had an intuition. Yes, I've always wanted to do this, or yes, this is what I know that I'm here for. And then in this new energy, that will be enhanced, almost as though you're getting a direct message from Spirit. Yes, this is what you're to do. And if you have been so fortunate to feel this in such a way that you now understand, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do, what is next for you? Well, the answer for you is obvious. You do it. And so for those of you who perhaps got a message to start a healing center or some other program or an online program of something, you begin it. And you say, well, how can I start, or what can I do, or this or that? And perhaps if it's ambitious, you have to rent something or go someplace or start whatever it is. And it doesn't work. Now, there are so many of you who've had this happen in an older energy. And sometimes in that older energy, it comes to you in a way that is so profoundly there. And so in that energy, you've actually tried it and you started. But you reached a block here and there, and the people weren't there or right for you, or the funding wasn't right for you, or didn't come, or you started it on your own and tried to fund